Heng Yi style for your speech, 7 habits every hive. Al, you woman lives by. Close your eyes for a moment and feel the stillness within. In this life, value is not determined by what we possess, but by how we carry ourselves, by the harmony between our thoughts, our actions, and our inner world. A hive, Al, you woman, is not defined by status, wealth, or external recognition. She is defined by her energy, her habits, her daily choices that radiate strength, dignity, and peace. To live as a hive, Al, you woman, means to embody grace under pressure, clarity in confusion, and discipline when the world invites distraction. It is not about striving to become someone else, but about returning to your truest nature, the self that is wise, resilient, and centered. Ladies and gentlemen, today we will walk together through 7 habits that every hive, Al, you woman, lives by. Each habit is like a seed planted in the soil of your character. When nurtured, these seeds grow into qualities that can never be taken away from you. So, breathe deeply, empty yourself of noise and expectation. Allow these principles to enter you not just as words, but as living practices, for it is in practice that true transformation begins. A hive, Al, you woman, is not defined by possessions, but by the harmony of her mind, body, and spirit. When we look around, the world often teaches us to measure worth by external things, titles, wealth, appearance, or the approval of others. But these are shifting sands, unstable and temporary. A true foundation cannot rest on what changes with time. The true essence of value lies in alignment. It is when a woman brings her thoughts, her emotions, and her actions into harmony that she radiates a power which cannot be diminished. The mind is the first place where harmony begins. A disciplined mind does not wander endlessly with doubt, fear, or the constant search for validation. Instead, it becomes a clear lake where reflections of wisdom and peace can appear. A woman who learns to train her thoughts and guide them toward positivity, courage, and clarity is already living in high value, because when the mind is mastered, the world outside cannot easily disturb her. She becomes rooted like a tree, unmoved by every storm that passes. The body is the vessel through which the inner world expresses itself. When the body is cared for, nourished, and respected, it becomes a mirror of the harmony inside. This does not mean chasing superficial standards or comparison, but honoring the body as a sacred temple of life. A woman who chooses to walk, breathe deeply, rest well, and eat with mindfulness is declaring that she values herself. Each small act of care is a habit of alignment, and in that care others learn how to respect her, because she has first respected herself. The spirit is the deepest layer of harmony. It is the connection to something beyond what can be seen or touched. When a woman nourishes her spirit, she develops an unshakable calm that no circumstance can steal. Her spirit keeps her centered when the outer world is chaotic. It guides her decisions, shapes her vision, and reminds her that she is more than her struggles, more than her victories, more than the roles society gives her. She is whole, a hive. Al, you woman, does not forget this truth. She lives from it daily. Harmony between mind, body, and spirit is not a fixed state. It is a practice. It is like tuning an instrument again and again, adjusting gently until the sound becomes pure. Some days the mind will wander, some days the body will feel weak, some days the spirit may feel clouded. But through self-awareness and steady practice, balance can always be restored. This is what makes her hive, Al, you, not perfection, but persistence, not the absence of challenge, but the presence of discipline to return to alignment. Such a woman does not need to announce her worth. Her presence speaks it. When she enters a room, her calm energy shifts the atmosphere. When she speaks, her words carry weight, not because they are loud, but because they are grounded in truth. People sense her strength not in dominance, but in grace. Her life becomes a living example that true value is internal, cultivated, and unshakable. The harmony she carries affects not only herself, but those around her. Her children learn balance from her steadiness. Her friends feel safe in her presence because she is not easily swayed by gossip or negativity. Her colleagues respect her because she leads with both firmness and compassion. In every area of life, the alignment within her creates harmony outside of her. She becomes a source of light, not by striving to shine brighter than others, but simply by being centered in her own flame. The journey to becoming such a woman requires self-observation. It asks for moments of silence, reflection, and honest questioning. Are my thoughts aligned with my purpose? Is my body treated as a gift or as an afterthought? Is my spirit nourished or neglected? These questions are not meant to create guilt, but to guide her back into balance. The more she returns to these reflections, the more naturally harmony flows through her. Over time, her value becomes undeniable, not because of what she owns, but because of what she embodies. Not because of how others see her, but because of how deeply she knows herself. Her worth is not conditional. It is constant, living in the unity of her mind, body, and spirit. True strength lies in daily habits that radiate dignity, clarity, and resilience. It is not found in sudden moments of brilliance or rare bursts of courage, but in the quiet, consistent choices a woman makes every day. A high value woman does not wait for extraordinary circumstances to reveal her strength. She cultivates it in the ordinary, in the rhythm of her mornings, in the way she speaks, in the way she treats herself and others. Strength is not something she chases, it is something she lives, and that life begins with her habits. Dignity is expressed in how she carries herself, even when no one is watching. It is the subtle but powerful presence that says, "I respect myself." This respect shows in her posture, her words, her tone, her decisions. She does not lower her standards to please others, nor does she exaggerate her worth to be noticed. Dignity is not pride, it is self-honor. It means she chooses habits that protect her energy and her values. She avoids unnecessary conflicts. She refuses to gossip. She maintains boundaries with grace. Every small act of self-respect builds her inner kingdom, and others learn to honor her because she has first honored herself. Clarity is another habit that sets her apart. In a world overflowing with distractions, noise, and endless demands, clarity becomes a rare jewel. A woman of high value takes the time to pause, reflect, and understand what truly matters. She sets her priorities not by the pressures of society, but by her own vision. Her habits support this clarity. She writes down her goals. She takes time for silence. She practices mindfulness in her work. By doing so, she avoids scattering her energy in 100 directions. Instead, she channels it into what aligns with her values. When others feel lost in confusion, her path seems clear, not because life is easier for her, but because she has chosen to cultivate the habit of alignment with her purpose. Resilience is the fruit of these habits, and it reveals itself when life tests her. A woman who practices resilience does not collapse under the weight of challenges. She bends but does not break. She allows herself to feel pain, to acknowledge hardship, but she does not remain trapped in it. Her daily habits, whether it is journaling, prayer, meditation, or simply maintaining routines, give her a foundation to return to when everything else feels uncertain. These small practices may seem ordinary, but they are her anchors. They keep her steady when storms arrive, and they allow her to rise again with even greater strength. It is important to understand that none of these qualities are accidental. Dignity, clarity, and resilience are not gifts given to a few. They are built through conscious repetition of habits. A high-value woman understands this truth deeply. She knows that what she repeats daily becomes her character, and her character becomes her destiny. She does not wait for the perfect day to begin. She knows that the smallest act done with consistency, carries more power than the grandest act done once. So she practices daily, trusting that each step, however small, is shaping her into someone unshakable. Her habits are visible in how she wakes up, how she speaks, how she listens. She gives attention to details not for perfectionism, but for alignment. She understands that the outer life mirrors the inner life. If her environment is chaotic, she restores order. If her relationships drain her, she sets boundaries. If her mind feels restless, she creates space for stillness. Through these choices, she embodies a strength that does not need to shout. It is quiet but undeniable, soft but firm. People who meet her feel it immediately. They sense that she is not rushed, not desperate, not easily swayed. She moves with calm confidence because her habits have built her foundation. She does not fear losing approval or facing rejection, because her strength is not dependent on others. It is rooted in the dignity she lives, the clarity she holds, and the resilience she practices. This strength cannot be borrowed, bought, or imitated. It must be lived, and she has chosen to live it daily. In the end, her habits are her silent teachers. They remind her every day of who she is becoming. They shape her into a woman who not only survives life's trials, but thrives in them. Her dignity guards her from lowering her worth. Her clarity keeps her vision alive, and her resilience ensures that no obstacle defines her. Through these daily practices, she radiates a strength that others admire, trust, and draw inspiration from. Each habit is a seed of transformation, growing into qualities that cannot be taken away. When a woman begins to see her daily actions not as small, disconnected events, but as seeds planted in the soil of her character, her entire perspective shifts. She realizes that nothing she does with awareness is wasted. Every moment of discipline, every act of kindness, every choice aligned with her values becomes a seed with the potential to grow into something lasting. The high value woman understands that transformation is not sudden. It is the gradual unfolding of these seeds into the qualities that define her life. A seed looks insignificant at first. It is small, hidden, and often overlooked. The same is true with habits. Waking up early, taking a moment to breathe deeply, choosing silence instead of reacting in anger. These seem small and easy to ignore, but like a seed buried in the ground, they carry within them a future that is invisible in the beginning. Over time, these repeated actions take root, and they grow into visible qualities: patience, wisdom, courage, self-respect. Others may see the tree and admire its strength, but the woman knows it all began with the simple act of planting and nurturing the seed. Transformation cannot be forced, just as no one can pull a seed from the soil to make it grow faster. No one can rush the growth of character. It requires patience and consistency. A high-value woman trusts this process. She does not demand immediate results from herself. She simply shows up daily, planting and watering the seeds of her habits. She trusts that over time her efforts will bear fruit. This trust frees her from frustration and comparison, because she knows that each small step is enough when repeated with sincerity. The qualities that grow from these seeds are not external possessions. They are internal treasures. Patience cannot be stolen from her. Wisdom cannot be taken away. Self-discipline, resilience, compassion. Once these qualities have grown within her, they belong to her forever. They are not dependent on the approval of others or the circumstances of life. They are her inner wealth, and they remain even when everything external is lost. This is why her habits matter so deeply. They are the source of qualities that endure beyond every change. A woman who plants these seeds also learns to protect them. She understands that weeds, negative thoughts, toxic influences, harmful behaviors can choke the growth if left unchecked, so she remains mindful of what she allows into her life. She chooses her environment, her relationships, and her influences with care. just as a gardener protects the soil. By guarding her inner garden, she ensures that the seeds she plants are given the space to grow strong. Over time, her inner garden begins to bear fruit, and this fruit nourishes not only herself but others as well. Her patience becomes a source of comfort to those around her. Her clarity inspires others to seek direction. Her resilience gives hope to those who are struggling. In this way, the habits she has nurtured create a ripple effect that extends far beyond her own life. She becomes a living example of growth, showing others that transformation is possible through steady, intentional practice. Even when challenges arise, she does not lose faith in the process. Storms may come, winds may shake the branches, but the roots of her qualities remain firm because they have been cultivated over time. The habits she has repeated daily anchor her in times of uncertainty. She may bend, but she does not break because her inner garden is strong. This resilience itself is proof of the power of the seeds she has planted. She also understands that the work of planting never ends. Growth is not a destination but a continuous journey. Every new season of life calls for new seeds. She remains a student, always learning, always cultivating, always refining her habits. This humility keeps her grounded, preventing pride from halting her growth. She knows that the garden of the self requires lifelong care, and she embraces this with patience and joy. Her life becomes a reflection of natural law, sowing and reaping, planting and harvesting, patience and growth. Just as no farmer expects harvest without planting, she does not expect transformation without habits. And just as no tree grows overnight, she does not expect instant change. She honors the rhythm of growth, allowing time and consistency to do their quiet work. Through this, her transformation becomes authentic, deep, and lasting. The strength she carries, the wisdom she shows, the peace she radiates, all of these are the visible results of the invisible seeds she planted long ago. Others may admire the fruit, but she knows the true beauty lies in the process of planting, watering, and patiently waiting for growth. This is the essence of her power, understanding that each habit is not just an action but a seed, and that seed holds within it a future she is consciously creating every day. The journey is not about becoming someone else, but returning to your truest, most centered self. From a young age, the world begins to shape us, telling us who we should be, how we should look, what roles we should play. Expectations are placed upon us like garments that never quite fit. Over time, a woman may lose sight of who she truly is beneath these layers. The path of a hive, you woman, is not about endlessly striving to meet external standards, but about peeling away those layers and returning to the essence that was always within her. At her core, every woman carries a natural strength, a unique wisdom, and an authentic beauty. These qualities do not need to be borrowed or imitated from others. They are already hers, yet the noise of comparison often drowns them out. Society celebrates imitation more than authenticity, pushing women to become copies instead of originals. But a woman of true value resists this pull. She understands that her worth does not come from being like anyone else. It comes from the deep alignment with her inner truth, the voice within that quietly but persistently reminds her who she really is. Returning to this centered self requires courage. It means facing the discomfort of shedding false identities. It means acknowledging the masks that have been worn for acceptance, the compromises made to belong, the silences kept to avoid judgment. Each layer that is removed brings her closer to authenticity. She begins to see that her greatest power is not in pretending, but in being. And as she reclaims her truest self, her presence grows stronger, her confidence steadier, her life more aligned. This return to the self is not selfishness. It is the foundation of true connection. Only when a woman knows and honors who she really is can she enter relationships without losing herself. She no longer depends on others to define her worth. Instead, she brings her wholeness into every connection. She can give without emptiness, love without desperation, and lead without arrogance. Her authenticity creates trust because people sense that she is real, unshaken by the masks the world often demands. The centered self is also a place of peace. When a woman is aligned with her true essence, she no longer wastes energy on comparison or competition. She does not measure her journey by the path of others. Instead, she walks steadily in her own lane, knowing that her value is not reduced by another's success. This clarity frees her from envy and insecurity. She learns to celebrate others without losing herself, because she understands that every individual has a unique light, and hers shines brightest when it is rooted in authenticity. To return to the truest self, a woman must cultivate stillness. Silence becomes her teacher, reflection becomes her guide. In moments of solitude, she listens to the whispers of her inner voice. She begins to remember dreams once forgotten, passions once abandoned, strengths once doubted. She rediscovers the childlike curiosity and joy that were always part of her. Each moment of reconnection strengthens her core, allowing her to stand taller and live more freely. This journey is not linear. There will be times when old habits return, when the temptation to please or to imitate resurfaces. But each time she notices this, she gently returns to herself again. With practice, the pull of authenticity grows stronger than the pull of pretense. Over time, she becomes anchored in her center, rooted in her truth, unshaken by passing storms. Her value shines not because she has become someone new, but because she has remembered who she was all along. The beauty of this path is that no one else can walk it for her. Others may guide, inspire, or support, but the return is personal. It is an inward journey that only she can take. Yet, as she makes this return, her transformation becomes visible to the world. People begin to notice her calm strength, her grounded confidence, her radiant authenticity. They may ask what has changed, but she knows the answer lies not in becoming more, but in becoming herself again. When a woman lives from her truest self, her life aligns naturally, choices feel clearer, relationships feel healthier, and purpose feels stronger. She no longer chases validation, she attracts respect. She no longer hides behind roles, she embraces her wholeness. She no longer fears being misunderstood, she values being authentic more than being accepted. This is the essence of living as a hive, you woman, not striving to be someone else, but returning again and again to the self that is already whole, already worthy, already complete.